Ben Olsen here for you. Ben, heading back up to the Pacific Northwest this weekend, Sunday night soccer. How's the team been preparing this week, coming off another important road point last week?
We should have just stayed out there. It was a good result, and we feel good about the performance overall in Seattle, but we're still a long way from where we need to be, and so it's just about working throughout the week. I have a full week of training to work on a few things and continue with some of the good that we've been doing over the last several weeks, but also adding into some areas where we think we have to improve to get 3 points. That's what we're certainly searching for. Not focusing too much on that, more the process, but it's time for a win one of these days.
Thanks for that. We'll start with Dustin. Go ahead, Dustin.
Hey, Ben.
Oh, Dustin.
News today that you guys added your DP, Andre Linger. What can you tell us about him? How do you see him fitting into the way you guys play?
Attacking piece can play, either 10, either 10 positions, or he can also kind of play a false 9. He can play out wide. So he's very versatile, and we're looking forward to getting over the next week or two until he gets his kind of visa, or 3 weeks, or however long this takes. He's here, and it gives us a chance to look at him in a few different spots. And we're looking forward to it. He's a great kid. He's come in here with really good energy and is excited to get started. He's fit in with the group already. So, but goals, assists, he's brave in the box. This is the type of player I think this group needs to help us with our lack of production.
In last game, you guys had to go to play Gillingham in goal after Jimmy got hurt. Ethan's now down. I know you guys added a defender. Any updates on goalkeepers? I know Pedro Cruz didn't play with Dynamo 2 this weekend. Just any updates on that?
We got some goalkeepers ready, and I'll leave it at that. We got some goalkeepers ready, and they'll do fine. I thought Blake did a good job coming in. This will be a different animal, and Pedro's done a good job at D2. So we have some options.
Thanks, Ben.
Herman, go ahead.
Hey, Ben. Good afternoon. Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Just following up on the newest DP signing, Asher and Pat continuously mentioned that the coaching staff is part of the search and the scouting team. What attributes specifically made you fall in love with the new signing? Is there a game in specific that you recall that impressed you when scouting?
What are you looking to shortcut your research? You would just want to go watch one game? It's there's a lot more than just watching games with this. There's a lot of data that comes with this, and so it's data. It's watching games. It's getting eyeballs. It's seeing these guys live, and does he fit in? Does he fit into a need? Whether it's your game model or also something that maybe you're lacking. So he checks a lot of those boxes, and one of his, I think, best qualities is how he arrives into the box. Again, brave, getting his head on things, and has a nice smell and feel for when to arrive and how to put up some numbers. So that's something, box occupation and tens adding into the box, something we've been looking to, add to our group, and he's got a lot of those qualities.
And then just adding on to Blake, Blake's question, last week was more of adrenaline in the moment, trial by fire. Have you had a chance to sit down with him this week, and talk about the massive opportunity in front of him and that he can seize?
I don't think it's about putting more pressure on the kid, that's for sure. I think he's was thrown into a spot where, we didn't necessarily plan for that, in the way that we didn't plan for Femi to be starting, from the get-go, in the way we didn't think Franco was going to have to fill in for a center back position. But that's where we're at right now. And collectively, this idea of next man up, and you hear it all the time, but that's a little bit where we're living right now. And yes, within that next man up mentality, there's opportunity, and certain players will take it and run with it, and some some won't. So that this is kind of all part of the challenge of going into the depth that we've had to go into. But I was pumped for Blake. Femi's getting really good reps, so it's been sometimes that's fun when it works out, and Blake has a good game and helps us out. So he's a good goalkeeper. He knows what he's doing. He's been around. He's played goalkeeper enough. Yeah, not maybe at the level that he's at right now, but we'll see. You never know.
And lastly, you mentioned depth. You signed a defender in Pablo Ortiz. What do you see about him, and could we see him possibly starting Sunday Night Soccer nationwide?
I haven't seen him around the building, so that would be a quick transition. So no, he's got a little bit, and whether it's him, Lingy, Dwayne Holmes, Quinones, Anali, and others, it's still, I've talked about this. It's now and how we get results, and then one by one these pieces will come in, and we'll have to adapt and figure out kind of. What that all looks like, and that's going to be an interesting process. And right now is an interesting process, and still figuring out a new group and how we're going to go about getting results. So no, he's not in the building, but we'll be a much different team in a month's time, or 6 weeks. It's going to be different. So it's a challenge in that. Okay, what does that look like? But also, again, really staying here and with this group and helping them out as much as possible to have a level success until those players come in.
Thank you, man. Best of luck this week.
Thanks.
Sam, go ahead.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, Sam. Nice microphone, Sam. Nice microphone.
Yeah, we're trying to scale up. Thank you very much. Another road game beckons for Houston Dynamo. Last season, you called this team Road Warriors. Against Columbus Crew, during your pre-match conference, you said you want to cause disruption and you want Columbus to get a point, went to Seattle get a point. Looking at this team now, that road game, after 5 games, how would you assess the team progress compared to your expectation during the preseason?
I think defensively we're a much better team now than we were from the get-go, and I think we have a better idea of who we are, which is normal. It's logical. It's 5 games in that you should have a better idea than the first game. And I've gone game by game. I think Dallas we performed at a good level for the first game and should get more out of that. Miami not so much. Poor performance. Columbus grinded out a result, and Salt Lake I thought we played very well. Probably our best all-around match, but didn't needed to win that game 2-1 or 3-2. And then going into Seattle, a very, very tough place to go and get something out of historically for any team, and to get something out of that. So again, we're to assess it. We're growing. And we're figuring out, again, ways to get results. The away form has been very good. The home form, more times than not, has been good, but we just haven't capitalized on the performance. So it's coming, but it's slow, and it's not been a lot of fun. It's not fun to not or to have the points we have at this moment in time. But the mood with the group is still optimistic, and we understand some of the challenge that we're dealing with right now, and we're collective in how we're going to go about getting points in the near future.
All right, we're talking about offensively. You spoke a little bit about the defensive growth of the team. Ezekiel Ponce, 450 minutes this year, he has played 1 goal, 1 assist. How do you see the chemistry developing between the midfield and the front line in getting to the final third that will bring that clinical touch to his game?
Well, certainly on the road, the times we're on the road, it's more of a there's less chances and less opportunities, and we designed both those games in that way. We always knew it was going to be not as many looks as we would be at home. The Salt Lake game, he could have had 1 or maybe 2 more, and that should have been again more production from him and our group. So you evaluate him more as like, is he in the right spots? Is he getting is he doing his part? And then if he's in the right spots and he's making the right runs, now it's about peeling one layer back and saying, okay, now are we providing him? Are we giving him the opportunities when he's in the right spots? Is the service the right one? And then sometimes it just doesn't come. It gets blocked or these opportunities for him. But as long as he continues to do what he does offensively and he's continually being in the right positions to score goals, that will come, Sam. And I know we've been saying that a while, and I know we've been struggling on the offensive while now for seems like forever. But hopefully, as we go and figure out this group and different ways to score, he'll start the net will start to open up for him.
All right, I wish you luck at the weekend.
Thanks, Sam.
Jorge, go ahead.
Good morning, Coach.
All right.
Coach, you already touched upon some of the subjects, but something you mentioned earlier, or these past weeks, you want to bring in competition. You bring in Pablo and Linger. How good of competition is that for the players like Sebastian Kowalczyk, Bassi, and then your list of center backs?
Well, I hope more times than not you bring competition in here and it raises the level of the entire team, in particular the individuals that are in that same position. So that's great. I don't think we've had that enough here, and that's just kind of what it's been. So now I think over the next few months, I think we'll have tougher choices, but and that would be a nice problem for me to have. But as I said, it's easy to look there, right? They're not going to be here for a week, 2, 3, 4, who knows? This visa process, and then the others are coming in. So I can't. We work on that separately and what this looks like. But there's now, and so there's making sure Amin and Kowalczyk are being set up to have success in this moment in time to try to get points. So. That's that balance, but we spend I spend most of my waking hours thinking about this team we have currently and how to get the best out of them.
You mentioned, as well, the team will look different in a month to 6 weeks. Can you provide any, updates on Nelson Quinones or Lawrence Anali?
Nelson's in and out of training in that, he can't do. He's not in every exercise, but he's starting to actually be in live exercises, and that's always a fun thing for a player that's been out for a while. He can start to smell that there's an opportunity here in the next few weeks for him to get back on the field, and he's a profile. He's a type of player that we could use, obviously. Someone more dynamic and that has some juice, some transition moment, has the ability to get out and transition. He's also a very highly skilled technician on the ball and service and creating opportunities 1v1. So we're looking forward, obviously, for him and Nolly to get back, but they got to get back in a smart way. It doesn't make any sense to rush these guys when they tell me he's ready. and hopefully that is, if you're asking for timelines, maybe in a couple of weeks to a month, he'll be seeing some game time.
Thank you, Coach. Best of luck on Sunday.
Thanks, man.
All right, Jesus, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. 5 games into the season, I kind of wanted to ask, what have you learned about your team, especially after the 2 draws on the road in tough places? What has that told you about your team and what they're capable of on the road?
Well, putting up shutouts on the road is a pretty good recipe for, grabbing some points over the course of a season in tough places, and that's been, if we've had one kind of a real positive in this season so far, it's been our road form and going to 2 tough places and getting some out of it against not only tough places but against very good teams, and so that shows us we have some resiliency and we're collective and we understand we still are a good defensive team. So now it's about continuing to kind of build and get more opportunities and fine-tune the offense. And but until you do that, it's nice to be able to rely on a real group effort on the defensive end and make it tough for teams to break you down. And we've done a good job of that in the last 3 games. First few, not so much. Kind of shot ourselves in the foot. Some really loose goals, some poor goals, for a variety of different reasons. So I think we've tightened that up as a group, and I think we've been more pragmatic in moments, particularly in our final third, in our 18, maybe a little less risky than we have been in the past, and building regardless of the situation, because we have different players and we have some young players and we have some different guys up top now, Ponce, and so we're going about things a hair different, but we still want the ball. We still want to create sustained possessions in the opponent's half. We still want to stick to who we are. But we've tweaked a few things. So we've gotten better defensively, more pragmatic, still a work in progress on the offensive end.
You've been answering a lot of specific soccer questions, so I'll be a little bit non-soccer-ish.
Thank God.
You mentioned a lot how this is a new team. Can you tell us about how the team camaraderie is coming along? What kind of off-field team activities have been happening to kind of bring the team closer together, since it is a lot of new players?
It's a good question. We haven't done much. It's been fairly busy. Preseason itself is a bonding experience for these players. They spend a lot of time with each other in hotels and on the road and traveling. So that usually takes care of it in the beginning of the season, the preseason time. But we value that. Pat Onstead values that, and we try to keep a good culture around here. There's not a lot of players here that have egos that are really gonna upset this culture. It's a good one, good times and bad. We're always going to be collective, and I don't worry too much about that part. But it is important when you get new guys in here for them to maybe step outside and do some things with the families or barbecues afterwards, or get into the city and do some events. We value that stuff, and you just have to do it at the right times.
And the final question for me, Hector played such a big role being, the voice in the, locker room. Has somebody else kind of stepped up in this early season to kind of fill that void, or is the team still figuring that out as well?
Well, Artur is our captain, and rightfully so. I think he represents a lot of what we believe in from a coaching staff and an organization. Again, it's hard work, selflessness. He's a wonderful human being and a guy that players want to follow. But again, there's all different types of captains, and he's not as rah-rah as maybe your stereotypical leader. So there certainly has been other players that have stepped up and had some words of wisdom at times, and it's collective. Griffin has great energy. Nico Lodero's been around. Junior Urso's a nice presence. Some lead by just Franco Escobar is a different type of guy. He leads by just his example and playing at 1,000% on every play, and his energy in game day. So there's all different types of ways to have leadership in your group. And then sometimes if you don't have that as much in the group, sometimes that puts a little bit more on a coach, or maybe not necessarily me, maybe an assistant coach, or there's all different ways to feel it, but it's about taking the temperature every day and taking the temperature of their group and what they need.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
All right, last one. We'll wrap it up with Diego. Go ahead, Diego.
Good afternoon, Coach. You mentioned a little bit throughout this entire press conference about going to places where they're tough to play. Providence Park has been recognized as one of those. So I just wanted to hear a little bit more of your thoughts heading into going up against that Portland squad,
Sure.
Especially considering that they've revamped their offense a little bit, and so this is also like a new look Portland team.
Yeah, no doubt. I get. I think maybe I'm. Tough also comes along with wonderful. Like, what a wonderful experience. You can look at it two ways. Like, going to Providence Park, it's an experience that is rare in this country for soccer. It's special. It's always been special. And so I think there should also be an appreciation for going and playing in an atmosphere that I think is as good as any in this country. It's that club's been around a long time. I have a real respect for the history of it, and the fan base is wonderful. It's a neat place, but it is on turf, and it is their home, and so it's just like Seattle. Turf adds another element to it, and that's why when you can go to these places and get something out of it, I think players also understand that they're not easy. The travels, the distance is real. The turf, it's 99.9% chance of rain, so there's a lot of elements that lend to a home field advantage. I get it, and they're good. They're athletic. They're dynamic. They're as you said, they're figuring themselves out just like we are with some new pieces. But their attack is a formidable one. Again, a lot of playing internally, a lot of nice combinations, aggressive outside backs, a forward that can put up numbers, strong defenders. Love the DP. They got some experience. Charles always in there doing his thing. So very good group. We'll have our work cut out for us.
And one final question. This is a little bit about outside of the game because it is Sunday night soccer for you guys. Yeah, I don't know how much you've been paying attention to that new implementation within Apple TV, but I just wanted to hear if you had any thoughts about it.
Yeah, I love it. The one adjustment for everyone to Apple TV, I think there's a lot of wonderful components to it, but the one tough part is they're all the same day. So if you're coaching and you're playing, you don't get to see a lot of these games, and that is something that I think a lot of people, inside the league have really appreciated. And I think it's also just logical, having some games that, 2 on Sunday, an early game on Saturday, other sports are doing it all the time, right? Look at football. They try to, NFL gets one almost every day starting, Monday, Thursday. So this is, I think, something that will benefit the league, and whether or not we care if it's on national TV, I guess we don't talk about it too much. It's still about preparing for Portland.